Skill 14, Parallel and Perpendicular Lines. Example 1. Solving a problem with parallel lines. A carpenter plans to install molding on the sides and top of a doorway. The carpenter cuts the ends of the top piece and one end of each of the sides at 45 degrees. Will the side pieces of the moldings be parallel? And explain why. So what we're going to do is we're going to think about what this is going to look like. So we're going to have a door that's at a 45 degree angle here, and then at a 45 degree angle on the top side. So that means we have 45 and 45. So if we added those together, we get 90 degree angle on each side. So because it's a perpendicular on each side, it means that the two sides will be parallel to each other. So you would write, yes, the pieces fit together to form 90 degree angles, so the sides are parallel to each other. For this next example, we're going to solve another problem with parallel lines. Can these pieces be fit together to form a picture frame with opposite sides parallel? Explain. Okay, so I have 60 degrees and 30 degrees, and I have two of each one, so I'm going to create a box. But you need to just be careful on which ones you match up with which ones. If you put a 60 degree with a 30 degree, 60 plus 30 is 90, so then we would have perpendiculars on the ends. So as long as you matched up the 60 degree and the 30 degrees, then you could create a picture frame with two sets of parallel sides. So you would write, yes, put the 60 degree angles with 30 degree angle pieces to get perpendiculars at all four corners. All four corners will then be 90 degrees, so the opposite sides will be parallel. Example 3. Solving a problem with parallel lines. Main Street intersects Avenue A and Avenue B. Avenue A is parallel to Avenue B. Avenue A is perpendicular to Main Street. How are Avenue B and Main Street related? Explain. So to do this, I'm actually going to sketch it out first. So Main Street is going to intersect Avenue A and Avenue B. Okay, so that's what I know right now. That's the first sentence. The next thing we're going to do is look at what it says. Avenue A is parallel to B. So I'm going to mark that it's parallel. So A is parallel to B. A is perpendicular to Main Street. So A is perpendicular to Main Street. How are Avenue B and Main Street related? Well, since these are both parallel, that tells me that this angle here and this angle here have to be the same because they're corresponding angles, since those two lines are parallel. So that tells me that the relationship between B and Main Street is also perpendicular. So we'd write Avenue B and Main Street are also perpendicular, and we would say it's because two parallel lines, they have to have congruent corresponding angles like that. Example 4, proving the relationship between lines. Given a plane, C is perpendicular to B, B is perpendicular to D, and D is perpendicular to A, as our picture shows. We want to prove that C is parallel to D. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we would write down what we're given. This is actually a very short proof. Start with what we're given. So we're going to rewrite our given. In a plane, C is perpendicular to B, B is perpendicular to D, and D is perpendicular to A. So what do we know based on that information? So if I look at my picture now, C is perpendicular to B, right there, and D is perpendicular to B, right there. So both of those lines are perpendicular to each other. So because both of those lines are perpendicular to the same line, rather, then that makes them parallel to each other. So that's exactly what we're trying to prove, is prove that they are parallel to each other. So we would finish our proof by saying C is parallel to D because the lines are both perpendicular to the same line. And then we're done. That was just a very basic, short, to the point proof. That finishes skill 14, parallel and perpendicular lines. Summarize your notes, make sure it makes sense to you and you can solve these different types of problems. Do some practice problems and then you should be ready for your quiz.